going on? I got my buddy Sean on today. He is the co-owner of All-in-One Solutions Commercial Cleaning. He's also a co-owner of the Sail House Restaurant and the co-owner of Action Cultivates Excellence, ACE for short, and they've got a summit coming up. Sean talks about a bunch of different things, specifically about vulnerability, men's mental health, overcoming adversity, and really mastering your mindset. Sean, dude, pleasure. I'm happy to have you on, man. What's going on with you, man?
All good, man. Thanks so much for having me on, Rob. I'm excited about this. I've dove into some of your content and think we're two like-minded dudes that hopefully can provide some value for the listeners today. So thanks for having me.
Oh, man, perfect. I love it. Love that you dove in. I can totally see you doing your research. You're definitely a like-minded individual. So I'm glad that we were connected through our buddy Brandon. But
Yeah,
before
shout out
we
to Brandon.
Yeah, but before we get too carried away with anything, would you mind? I gave a quick intro there. Could you give a little bit more of a background on who it is you are, who you help, what you're looking to do, kind of thing like that?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Westchester, New York here, born and raised in Irvington, went up to Springfield College in Massachusetts, played college football over there. So I had a crazy couple of years up there and, got into some trouble and had some early struggles in my life in regards to that stuff. A lot of fights and things of that nature that I learned a ton about and kind of would unpack that later in my life. Coming out of there, I walked into a position down in the Bronx. I was working throughout the summers down in the Hunts Point produce market for a company that was owned by a local family who we're kind of family friends with a bit. And looked into that and I said, look, I think this could be a fit for me. It's a huge operation and it was international wholesale produce supplying. So all over the world, importing, exporting, everything. Managed that business. It was called Gotham Fresh, which was owned by Dorigo, New York. Managed that business for 8.5 years or so. That was a $0 business when Dorigo opened Gotham Fresh, and when I left in 2021, we were doing 40 million in sales annually. So
Wow.
crazy growth throughout those 8 years there. I learned a ton about business and life and grit and just all the principles that I think I try to apply today in my businesses. So that was kind of the starting block for my business career. I was working overnights there, and I wound up getting a lot of free time when I changed my schedule. So my hours were 8 p.m. start, and I would finish at like 6 a.m. It was
Oof.
brutal. Changed my hours to 5 a.m. start time, and I would be getting out of work in the early afternoon, and I basically had all afternoon after that to and evening to just, what do I do with myself? So I would always work out for the hour, and then the rest of my time I didn't really know what to do. So ended up starting to plan this commercial cleaning company, and I was in the middle of this process, and a buddy from college approached me, and he was actually looking to start a business too, and that ended up kind of just being, I don't know, divine intervention. Like, it was just the right time. And we paired up. We started that company in 2017. And as I was just telling you off air, like, it was a small little company. And we were all hands on deck. There was two of us. And now we've got 8 full-time employees, and we're doing commercial spaces. We're doing post-construction cleanups. We're down at the stock market in Wall Street. We've been in the Empire State Building. So there's a lot of different stuff we've had, and it's been a slow growth. So I had that. I managed a luxury staging and design company for a year and a half out of Stanford, and I was living there for 4 years as well. Uh, Ended up not really loving who I was with there; just wasn't a culture fit for me.
Mhm.
And had this opportunity with Sail House Restaurant to get involved with a couple partners here and get this thing off the ground. So that's kind of my quick overview of my work life and just kind of who I am a bit.
Nice. Yeah. So it sounds like you're a serial entrepreneur, really kind of anything and everything. You're just kind of building and growing with different things. I love that. It's exciting.
Yeah, man. I think the goal is to just keep opening more businesses and help more people. I think business principles in general, they apply to really any industry. whether you're in a restaurant or if you're in a commercial cleaning company. Leadership, something I'm really, really passionate about, and I do a lot of public speaking on that stuff. I think these little nuggets that you can take and apply to your business, they apply in any industry. So
Yeah, I love that. Um, so you've currently got like three businesses, I would say, right? You got going on. You've got Ace, you've got the sale house, and then you've got the all-in-one cleaning, right? Do you have
yeah.
a goal for how many businesses you want to get to? Are you looking, do you have something kind of like brewing? You're like, okay, I got a couple other ideas that I'm going to kind of launch in the months or years to come?
No, I don't think right now I have like a set number. I think my main focus right now is to number one, lean more into the restaurant and focus primarily on that. My cleaning company, I'm pretty hands off at this point now. I do stuff each day, but like quick things. I
Hmm.
really will probably only spend maybe 2 to 4 hours a week on that company. So I'm pretty hands off there. My main focus primarily is the restaurant, growing, expanding this. We just opened up in April of this year, 2023. So super
Nice.
fresh. This is
Congrats.
our first. Thank you, man. Thank you. This is our first fall, going into our first winter here. So it's all new, uncharted waters for us, and we're trying to get creative and do different things. So I think just for the near future, focusing on this and getting Ace off the ground. My buddy Dave Regina, the co-founder and host of the No Snooze podcast, he and I teamed up with Stephanie Madonia, who's an event planner, and we're going to do a men's wellness retreat in February up in New Paltz. So this is it's an exciting time for us because we're about to start releasing everything, the website, tickets, and the guest speakers that we're going to get involved, and it's going to be fun. So I think just tying into business and my passions is really what I'm just looking to stay into.
Cool. Yeah, you sound super, super busy. So that's really awesome. Before we kind of keep going forward, you said you played football up at Springfield, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you, just throwing that out there, do you know Austin LeDuc by any chance?
Austin LeDuc. No.
Okay. I think he graduated a couple years back. I think he's probably graduated high school 2015, maybe 2014, somewhere around there.
Okay.
13.
No, so I definitely would have spoke to him though if he played football there.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been back what 3 or 4 times now to speak to the team. So I probably saw him there when I spoke to them, but I graduated college in 2014, so
Oh, okay.
a little bit older than him.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just figured I'd see like
Yeah,
connections like that.
all good, man.
I do want to
Springfield's
ask
good
you.
stuff.
So when you were working with the Gotham Produce, and you flipped your work schedule basically from nights to directly like early mornings going forward, was that an easy kind of switch for you, or how did you adapt to that? Because originally you'd probably be wrapping up around like 5 a.m., right, with the night shift.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think just my health and everything that I had in my body was great. I was going out. I was kind of like on the party scene. I was dating a girl out in Boston, so I was traveling every other weekend out there. I was bartending on the weekends until 4 in the morning, and so it was just it was crazy for me. I think I had so much going on during those overnight like schedule years that when I did transfer to the day shift, if you will, um, I started to kind of get to more in alignment of where I should be and
Mm.
building a healthier lifestyle. I think.
Yeah, yeah, because I know that just messes everything up. If you inconsistent sleep and if you're working on fumes, that's going to
Yeah,
do major damage to every aspect of your life. Um,
yeah. I
but
think
yeah,
during those years, like I mean, I lost a ton of weight, and I was, when I was in high school and growing up, I was always a running back and a linebacker. I went to college and I played D end for the first year. Then I got moved to tight end, and then we ran the triple option, which like you basically don't throw the football ever. So I asked my coach, I'm like, can I move down to right tackle? And I ended up finishing my college career, my junior and senior year, as a right tackle after being a running back my whole life, which was crazy.
yeah,
But so I was a big dude, and then I went to Dorigo and Gotham Fresh, and over the course of like 2 3 years, I dropped like 20 to 30 pounds. It was just it's so unhealthy. And I think it was something for me that, I really learned a lot about my body and just nourishing it and just wellness in general. It's like, dude, you're not doing what you need to right now for this machine to work.
Yeah. Where are you sitting at currently weight wise?
Right now I'm 18 ish. I flirt between 215 and 220.
You feel good at that weight?
Yeah, I think that's my go-to weight that I think I feel best at. I'm doing a bit more sprint training and running and things like that. I just did a 30-mile Spartan race a month ago, and that was way out of the realm of like what I'm normally used to. I'm used to quick workouts and quick bursts and things like that, but put myself through that challenge. So I've been coming off of that where I've been doing a lot more cardio training and things like that. So I think 215, 220, I feel pretty good at.
Hmm. So that's pretty sweet. A lot of weight body composition changes going through with your life, and working in a restaurant, that definitely can't be easy. And then having the other business, and now trying to launch a whole nother business. What are you eating to keep yourself going? Like, because you're trying to fit your three multiple jobs in, you got to get your training in, you still got to function at a high level. Like, what kind of stuff are you eating in your diet right now?
So I typically do usually one meal a day with like a lean protein and some rice or some sort of carb, potato, something like that. I would say I eat pretty healthy like 60 to 70% of the time.
Okay.
I'm not at my best of where I've been in the past. I kind of go through phases of that. I think being a part of the restaurant, and I'm a cook myself as well. I've got a cooking page on Instagram, Dine with Degs. Um, I love food and I love cooking, and so trying different recipes, tasting things, showing people how certain things should be prepared, stuff like that. If you're not careful, like that can add up quick. So I
Yeah.
have to really put like the halt on it, and really kind of hold myself back sometimes with that. But yeah, I mean, I try to do a lot of ground beef, grilled chicken, salmon, things like that.
Nice. And you feel, you said you have like one main meal a day. Do you feel like you're getting enough calories in, or how do you feel
Yeah,
that
no,
that's
no,
going?
no. So I do try to get like my three main meals in. I'll try to hit breakfast, lunch, dinner every day. Certain days, if I'm crazy busy and it does slip by me sometimes, I'll miss a meal. But I think now we're entering a little bit of a slower season with the restaurant. I could kind of hone back in on that stuff and hopefully be able to get a little tighter with my regimen on that.
Nice. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just curious because I find myself doing very similar, like running around with different clients. I'm in and out of the house, phone calls all day long.
yeah.
Sometimes I don't get, like, I just had my first meal probably about a half hour, 45 minutes before our call, and it's almost
Wow.
3 p.m. right now. And some days I'll have one big meal and that'll be it for the day, and other days I have many smaller meals, but it all kind of depends on the day and the schedule. And
Does
I've
your
kind of
body
found a good
recognize it?
balance.
Like, does your body like adapt to it? I mean, how do you feel when you're on no food versus your 3, 4 meals, whatever you're having?
I think my body's kind of used to it. I think I over the course of the week, I try not to look just solely day to day, even though that is important, but looking at like total calories and meals throughout the week and just making sure it kind of evens out, balances out. And I eat pretty much the same consistent things. So I know like, okay, if today's a busy day, like I'll think ahead, I'll look at my schedule in advance and I'll kind of plan out when and where I'll get my meals in. Take
Hmm.
that proactive approach instead of the sit back and be reactive. That way,
Yeah.
then, like, if I know, okay, I got a couple more client calls or something, and I'm not going to be able to eat for another hour and a half to 2 hours, and I am a little hungry, I can push through that little bit of hunger because I know I'm going to be able to eat afterwards. So keep that in the
Wow.
back of the mind too.
I,
That
I
usually
like
helps.
that. Looking at it like for the week, I might shift my mentality. I might take that.
Nice. Um, but yeah, so you're also doing like a zillion different things. So how do you stay motivated? And what was the motivation in the first place? Like how did you get going and like finding new opportunities? Like what inspires you to keep driving and pushing all these crazy hours and doing these different things?
Uh, it's a loaded question, I think, because there's a lot behind that, and I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. But I would say number one, I think it's like almost like a primal thing in me that like I've always had. I think growing up, I've always wanted to be the best athlete. I always wanted the best looking girlfriend. I always wanted to go to the best restaurants. Like it was just like a mentality I think I always had. I think I'm looking back now at my younger years and just thinking of like my parents and the things they would say to me and those kind of like subconscious affirmations that might have played a big role, in the development of just my brain and my habits and my motivation. Because they were super supportive. They were always, promoting, going after it, competing, winning, not just going out there and everybody gets a trophy. It wasn't that. Um, so I think that's kind of where it all stemmed from. I think now where I'm at, I want to help a ton of people, especially like with Ace. Dave and I, we've got a real passion for helping other people, the same way you do with this podcast and the guests you have on, the value you provide to other people. Anytime I get an opportunity to jump on something like this, I always take it because you never know when it's going to help someone. Someone is having a horrible day and they needed to hear what you're talking about that day. You might have saved them from doing something stupid or, help them to further themselves in their path. So I think that's a big driving factor for me. My future, family, relationship with my girlfriend, future kids, things like that. I want to have freedom in life with my time. I want to have flexibility with it, and I want to be someone that is of service to others.
Wow. Yeah, man. Dude, that was a great answer. And like you touched on a lot of different things, and I just kind of want to spread out and ask like a zillion different questions. But I'll prevent myself from doing that, and I'll boil it down to because I heard you talk about a couple different relationships of people that are important to you, and I want to just get your take on maybe communication skills or relationship building, like your social support. Share a little bit about that, like what's your take on all of that kind of things?
So I think I have a new perspective on this. My father passed away 3 weeks ago unexpectedly,
Oh,
and
wow, I'm so sorry to hear that.
yeah, thank you, man, thank you. So that's just touching on like adversity and overcoming obstacles. There's been a ton in my life, and this is definitely a new uncharted territory for me. But it's something that for me, it's like with him, I feel like I was stripped of time with him. I'm a man of faith, and I believe in a higher power, and I do trust in the Lord's path and plan that He had for him. And for whatever reason, it was his time to move on. But with that being said, it's like you're always going to look back and say, "Shoot, I wish I called him one more time. I wish I stopped by the house one more time." So I think just being aware of that with the relationships that you do value that you have in your life. It's super important because as cliche as it is, it's like you don't realize what you got until it's gone. It's true. I mean, I did love and appreciate and value him, and I had a good relationship with him, but it's so much more impactful now that you feel stripped of that future with him. There's certain things in my current relationship with my girlfriend that I don't do a great job at, and I tell people this all the time that I've done public speaking since 2018, and I am more comfortable a lot of the times going out there and speaking to 300 people about my deepest, darkest secrets than some people that are even closest to me at times, not always, but like certain situations, and it's a weird thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of work to do on that front. I'm aware of it, but as far as just communication in general with your friends, your loved ones, all that, um, be aware of the good relationships you have. Value them and nurture them.
Yeah, man, that's some powerful stuff. And yeah, again, I'm really sorry to hear about your dad, and something
Thank
that
you.
we kind of share a similar situation, losing my dad too, and reflecting on that and realizing I'm not going to get those chances to spend time with him ever again. And it's just like you said, it's tough to kind of notice that when you have it, and it takes losing it to kind of come to that realization. But what would you say to somebody who is stuck in there? Like, what is something that they can do? Like some kind of like, how can you reflect on that, and how can you pay attention to those things when you're caught up in like the whirlwind of life, and it's not as easy to sit back and be like, oh, let me reach out and talk.
Yeah. I
Like, how do you
think,
get more aware is what I'm saying.
yeah. So, one of the things I speak on is this little system that I've created in my head that works for me:
Mhm.
exposure, awareness, action. So you have to expose yourself to things first. At that point, it becomes on your awareness level, it's on your conscious, and then you have a decision to make. It's either to make a decision, or the inability of making of a decision. Because a lot of times people get the deer in the headlights, and they don't do anything. And it's fine, that happens. But exposing yourself to these things, I think for me over the years, slowing down is just like getting in an ice bath. I do cold plunges basically every day now. Meditation and breath work is something that I had crippling anxiety when I was coming out of college for a couple of years, and went to the hospital a couple of times for it. Getting more in tune with my breath, my body, faith, prayer, if you're someone that believes in that. Um,
Yeah.
these are things for me that have helped. Journaling helps me a lot now. Losing my dad 3 weeks ago, I've journaled at least 3 to 4 times a week now. Just getting my thoughts out on the paper, looking back a couple days later and saying, "Oh shoot, this is how you're feeling." You could, when you're in a clear headspace, sometimes you look back and you're like, "Oh, maybe I could do this,"
Mhm.
and take those little nuggets that you write down, and take some action on it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love all those tactics you just shared, because if anybody takes any of those and just starts implementing them, if you don't do any of them or all of them, just taking one of those and just start implementing it now is going to make a huge impact on your mindset and just mental clarity and everything too. And like, as a busy person yourself, how do you fit all those different things in?
So I don't know whose quote this is, but it's like, you don't it's like, oh, you don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, but it's like you create time, like the time's always there. It's how you're choosing to use the time. So if you're sleeping 8 9 hours and you're not getting some key things done that you think you should be doing, then maybe you need to trim your sleep back an hour or whatever it is. If you're watching TV at night and you're burning an hour there, maybe don't do that, and take that hour at the end of the night and gain it back in the morning. Wake up earlier. Um, I,
Dude,
I don't. Go ahead. Sorry.
I love that so much, because just recently I've been slacking a lot on my own training, not getting
Mm-hmm.
my workouts in, and my schedule is like super slammed. Essentially, I go back to back with client training sessions, coaching calls, etc., podcasts and such, from like 5 a.m. to some nights it's like 9:30 p.m.
Wow.
And I'll get like very small breaks in between, and I've been struggling to find the time to work out myself. So then
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of my clients about it, and he's like, "Oh, you sound kind of like somebody I know," talking about himself. And I was like, "Wow, you're right." So here I am telling my clients that they need to
Yeah.
find the time, and then I'm slacking, falling off on that. So recently, I've actually had to bump back my wake up time from 4 a.m. to 3 a.m.
Wow.
just so I can go and get my workout in. Like this morning, I was down in the gym at 3:15, getting my workout in just as much as I could so I can get something in. It might not be 100% workout that I had planned, but just
Yeah.
getting it going. And you know what? I sacrifice an extra hour of TV or an hour of sleep in the morning, but it's not forever. It's
No.
just while I'm going through this busy season right now, I got to
Mm-hmm.
prioritize these certain things that I find valuable.
Yeah.
So,
It's a couple of things on that. So like, number one, it's so funny because like, I've gotten like criticism in the past where it's like, oh, you're preaching this, you're talking about this, but then you're doing XYZ. And it's like, yeah, there's times and seasons in your life where you're not as disciplined as you should be. And it's fine. it's everything's temporary. If you're aware of it, you're able to make a change on it. So I think not beating yourself up about that it's a big thing, but also saying, all right, this might be getting a little out of control now, so let me address this thing. So giving yourself a little bit of grace with it. That's what I try to do with myself. Like when I fall off the path and I'm not doing everything I need to do, it's okay for now, but look, by XYZ date, you better start doing this again. And that's kind of
Yeah.
the agreement I have with myself a lot of the times when I do fall off the path.
Dude, I love that because I try to, with myself and my clients, I try to put a deadline for everything. So like if you want to enjoy some food and change up your diet a little bit, go ahead and do it, but set a deadline to it. Same thing with when you're
Yeah.
deciding to change into a more healthy pattern too. Set a deadline to it and then reassess and evaluate. Otherwise, if you're just stuck in this, I have to eat clean, I have to do everything to perfect T, you're just going to fall apart because you can't operate at that high level of just super into it. So setting a
Yeah.
deadline, both good and bad, on different things, I feel like is such a great approach.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's something that I think a lot of people don't have, and people beat themselves up so much over it if they don't do everything that they say they're going to do that day or that week or that month, the goals that they have for themselves. Um, it's you gotta be patient with yourself, but you gotta also be aware of it, and when it does get to a point where it's out of control, you gotta take action on it and address it if you want to. If not, then stop caring about it and move on to something else.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And I know you were talking about a little bit on habits and things just a little bit ago. And if could you share like a little bit, what are some new habits that you're doing maybe just like within like the past 6 months or a year that you've kind of started to implement a little bit more?
So I think the cold plunging more consistently. I've always done the cold shower thing. I've got into Wim Hof breathing.
Hmm.
It was in 2017 when I was like first exposed to that. So I kind of jump started the whole cold exposure thing in 2017, and then I would do cold plunges whenever I had the opportunity to, wherever they were, things like that. But now I've got an actual cold plunge that I bought. My closest friends that I talk to every day have cold plunges. Um, I think that's a whole nother can of worms we could talk about, but like the people you're talking to every day, your community, who you're surrounded with, like everyone that I talk to, like they're leveling me up. And whenever I'm feeling like shit one day, like this morning it actually happened. I slept 4 hours last night. It was a crappy 4 hours. Woke up feeling just like not myself. And there was a text message from one of my buddies, 5 a.m. in the cold plunge, doing his thing. And I'm like, God damn it. And it's stuff like that pressure is real and it will make you accountable. So, cold plunging in general as a habit, that's been generally new to me on the level that I'm doing it now. My breath work, I'm trying to do at least 4 to 6 times a week, whether that be a 5 or a 10 minute meditation. Um, I've done a couple classes where you're in like hour meditation sessions and like you're in a whole other dimension.
Wow.
Um, so I'm going to try and lean more into that stuff now, especially as I'm walking this road with losing my father. Um, Trying to just figure out all the emotions I'm feeling internally. I think slowing down your breath work helps me a lot, at least, to start to learn yourself more. Um, and then just trying to be present. I'm trying to be more present. I think you're you've got so much going on. A lot of us, the guys like us, at least, um, we're always so focused on hitting the next goal, the next business move, and this and that. But you're not going to be able to do that if you burn out. And you got to be able to slow down sometimes. You got to be present with the people that you're with because you don't want to ruin close relationships. And I've screwed that up many times. I probably will continue to, but I'm aware of it and I'm working on it and I want to get it better. So working on being present too.
Yeah, man, that's the biggest thing. As long as you're taking something from it and learning, I feel like then you're just gonna eventually get better, better, better. It's that little tiny chunks. Don't have to completely change everything about you, just as long as you're improving in the way that you want to as well, too. Because there's a lot of different ways of change. Change comes in a lot of different shapes. And as long as you're molding yourself to the way that you want to go, step by step, I think you're going to be making those big leaps down the line.
Yeah.
But Sean, dude, I want to be courteous of your time because I know you're a busy guy and everything. But tell me a little bit more about the A Summit you got coming up.
Yeah. So, action cultivates excellence. Myself and Dave Regina, we're bringing this to the world February 2024. It's President's Day weekend. So, we're going to be hosting that at a private estate up in New Paltz, New York. It's 160 or 260 acres. I can't remember exactly. 160 or
Ooh.
260. There's a private lake on the property. We're going to do some cold plunges in there. We're going to do some outdoor hikes at a nearby mountain. We've got some big name speakers that we're going to be releasing those names early December. We've got just a community that we're going to build. And it's something that I think in the entrepreneur space, especially this is all male driven. I should probably mention that too. It's all men for now at least. It's hard to find that safe space sometimes. And I've hosted a business networking dinner for 4 years now. Um, that group transitioned into like a men's therapy group. And they're all dudes that you look at and it's like these guys are animals, physically, business wise, everything. But then they get in that room and the walls come down, the vulnerability is there, and there's a lot of strength and vulnerability. There's a lot of growth when you're able to share your journey with other people. So that's what me and Dave are looking to build a foundation for. We're going to set the stage for it. We've got an amazing space, weekend, agenda, everything's set up. So tickets will be coming out soon for that. So just keep locked in with me and Dave to follow for that.
Very awesome. And I know you were saying before, I don't know if you announced it here on air or if it was just beforehand, but do you have the website up or is that coming? Do you have
The
the
website will be up
URL?
next week.
Okay.
So yeah, late
By the
like
time this
probably
airs,
late
it'll
next
be
week.
up.
Yeah. So December 1 is like our goal to get the website up. December 1, 2023. So
Cool.
actioncultivatesexcellence.com. We'll have all of the information on there. We'll have tickets launched, all that stuff. So
Awesome. And in the meantime, how do people stay connected with you or reach out to you if they have questions about any of the things you got going on?
yeah, typically my main hub is Instagram. You can find me there, Sean.Degnan on Instagram, Sean, Irish way, that's how you spell it. Sean.Degnan on Instagram. My business page, the Sale House Tarrytown, it's the restaurant, and AI1 Solutions is my commercial cleaning. So Instagram, main hub for me, but always here to chat with like-minded individuals, lend a helping hand, and hopefully provide more value to other people.
Dude, you definitely did a lot of great nuggets you kind of shared today, and I'd love to have you back on the show in the future, maybe as like a recap after the retreat kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
awesome, man.
I'd love to dive into it more. I got a bunch of other questions I want to ask you in the future, and you definitely shared a lot of value. So I appreciate you coming on and spending the time today. But before I let you go, boiling it down, what would be your number one piece of advice for surviving the side hustle?
Oof. Number one piece of advice for surviving the side hustle. So I shared this with you before. I think this is it. I one of my mentors a couple of years back when I first started my commercial cleaning company. I was working my full time job. I was bartending, and then I started this cleaning company as well. So just running around like a freaking animal all the time, chicken with my head cut off, and I kept calling it my side business. I'm like, oh, my side hustle, my side business, and I was looking to expand. This was like 2 years in at this point with the company, and doing like minimal sales, a couple tens of thousands of dollars every year. And he's like, stop calling it your side hustle. Stop calling it your side business, your side gig, the whole thing. He's like, call it your business. Treat it for what it is. He's like, give it the respect it deserves. He's like, once you start calling it your business, you start taking ownership over that thing. You're not going to treat it as some side thing anymore. You're going to treat it as it's yours. And, that's a representation of you. And God damn, he was right. Changed my mentality and changed my finances with that company. And it's just a cool little nugget that I think the words you speak to yourself, the words you speak out loud, a lot of the times those things will come to fruition. So be careful of what you're saying.
Boom. Love that. That was a fire nugget there at the end. Appreciate it so much. Sean, dude, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And looking forward to the retreat and hearing a lot more about what you do in business wise, personal development wise. You got a lot of growing going on, and I'm excited to see where you bring it all. Thank you again, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you and love all the work you're doing out there. So thanks for providing the platform for people to provide some value here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace out, guys.